It is the Worst of the Riot podcast. Happy Tuesday to you.
We only have a few days left of our fall fundraiser.
Yeah.
So a few more days of a slightly shorter podcast, but still lots of good content.
Oh,
That's a great stuff.
Lots of great stuff. But remember, we cannot continue RadioU or our Riot stuff or our podcast without getting our funding needed to make RadioU a possibility. We don't sell you guys mattresses the entire year. Instead, we have our podcast, and we just, like to remind you, if you ever want to consider supporting RadioU financially as a podcast listener, that does help since that's a big cost of the Riot. So if you go to radiou.com and help support our podcast, put that you're a listener to the podcast in the comment section, and we'd love to thank you for supporting this.
Mind you, we definitely need the donations, but another great way to support, leaving us a nice rating, telling your friends, getting the word out about the podcast is helpful as well.
Today on the podcast, we talked about how if you've been in college recently or even just school, it might be just harder than it has been in the past because your motivation levels are just so darn low.
Yeah.
It wasn't high to begin with.
No,
Exactly.
that's for sure.
And you're like, it can't go much lower. Yes, it can. It absolutely can.
Yeah, and it doesn't help that for almost all adults, too, once you get to adult life, nobody's like, yep, I wish I was more motivated in school. It's like, your minimal motivation was probably about right.
And I think with this survey that you'll hear, it talks about, back when you were learning more at home compared to learning in a classroom. I bet you it's pretty spot on for how it is, even if you're not in classes, but if you work and you worked remotely and you're working back in the office, no one wants to do anything.
No.
Whether you're at home or in the office or in the classroom, but this has some study numbers behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. Also, it's funny on that note because the people are working remotely so much. My roommate who works remotely every other week, I'll come home when he's working remotely and he's just either taking a nap on the couch. He's got his little workforce thing or whatever open on his computer, and so it looks like he's on, but he's just sleeping. And I'm like, dude, you gotta. He's like, the sad part is they're paying me right now.
As long as he's making his quota.
Exactly,
As long
right?
as he's hitting the numbers.
One of my favorite TikToks to see was they were popular to kind of show someone doing nothing for the whole week, and then it's Friday and you have 20 minutes till the end of your workday. So you're trying to squeeze your entire work week into 20 minutes, and you're like, no one bother me.
Yep, we've all been there.
I know. No, you haven't. You work hard every day. We can't do that with this job.
We can't really cram it all into 20 minutes,
but
can
we're
we?
jealous if you have a job
we
that
would
you
love
can.
to.
Yeah,
Sure
I wish I could just do my job from home. I'm like, I feel like I'd be so, I'd be so productive at home.
But,
and then if you sent me home, I would not be productive.
Well, why can't we just have if we just had a job where it was all documents and spreadsheets and
That's terrible.
Well, the problem is,
but we'd be able to do it so quickly and then goof off the rest of the time.
I know, but
which
you
is
know
kind of what
what?
we do, actually.
We have the curse of these loud mouths.
Yeah.
And there's only certain jobs that'll have us. Because here, our loud mouths are encouraged and flourished and grown. But in a work environment, we'd be fired long ago because you can't be quiet.
You also have to think if we ever got out of radio and into another line of work, this would be used against us. Because they'd be like, well, your resume looks nice, but I also listened to your show, and it sounds like you are a terrible employee.
Yeah.
So
Sounds like you're awful.
We're going to not go with you.
I think we should just stay here and just duck our heads and keep down low.
We also talked about on the show a new form of vaccination. It seems pretty cool. Dropping from airplane, was it helicopters, airplanes, but more for rabies.
Yeah.
Which, it's a weird thing. I never really think about that animals could have rabies and stuff.
Yeah.
And so when I let Jim out, my dog, to go to the bathroom or
Who
anything.
could also have rabies.
Yeah. And so I'm like, I know we got the shots and everything, but does that fully protect him? I don't know.
Yeah, it keeps him from turning.
From turning what? From what, foaming at the mouth?
Yeah, because he could be the one that could bite somebody.
So if he and listen, so if he got rabies, would he be a wild animal all of a sudden, or would it still be the same?
He won't get it because he got a shot.
Yes, but let's say he did get it. Would he like turn rabid?
All of your minimal training you've done would go out the window. I mean, he'd still poop on the bed, but he would also start biting.
That's just an everyday thing. Yeah, he'd also always.
I feel like we're only going by zombie movies at this point. That's what a zombie turns. So I don't, or a human turns into zombies. Yeah, I think the rabies shot keeps them from ever being able to get it, and they can't go like give the shot to the raccoons.
Yeah.
So then this is like the vaccination that way.
Interesting.
Someone's like a vet person going, you're wrong. You're all wrong.
This is just all incorrect information. I don't know what you guys are spreading, but that's not what's happening.
We need a vaccine against misinformation on the riot.
Yeah.
Oh, we would have that misinformation pop-up thing come up. And it'd be like, instead of COVID, it's rabies.
It's a good thing Facebook isn't analyzing this podcast.
Like, not.
I mean, they might one day, but not now.
They'd be disappointed for sure.
Yeah. You also get to hear a segment that was almost just completely thrown off by Hudson's manners. I mean,
did you hear it?
Yes, I heard. I mean, I listened back to it as I was.
But
like, it wasn't like if you listen to it, like you don't really like. It isn't that noticeable.
Sure.
See,
but the guys pointed it out. So I wouldn't have let it go either. But like when they listen to it, it won't be like, oh my gosh, like that just happened. It'd be like, okay, Nikki said it happened, so it happened.
But that's the beauty of the podcast. You can rewind and listen as many times as you want. Computer enhance it if you want to.
I need you to enhance it and put it at the end of the podcast and just have nothing but the burp.
On a relay like 3 times in a row.
Listen, guys, I shouldn't have to work in that environment, okay? I shouldn't have to hear that in my headphones.
Well, I think we should just be comfortable around each other.
God help us if that
and
happens.
so that's just a sign that I feel comfortable.
Another level
I feel vulnerable here.
No.
And I'm okay with it.
Imagine where we'll be in a couple months if this is how comfortable we are now.
Well, enjoy the podcast today. Please, again, consider supporting or at least checking out how you can support through RadioU.com. We're almost done with the fall fundraiser, almost back to our normal podcast.
Real quick, I said excuse me.
You're such a dork. I said it doesn't make it okay.
Doesn't make you just wash away what happened.
What? It excuses
like
what I did.
It just says it's like you're saying I'm sorry, but that doesn't like just completely cater over everything you did. Like you still did it, but like we can forgive you.
Sorry.
Catch you next time.
Bye.
This is the Worst of the Riot podcast.
Isaiah, you went to college, right?
Yes, I did.
You finished it though, right?
Yes, I did.
Wait, did you Nikki, I don't even know. Did you go to college or?
Like a year and a half. I didn't finish it.
Oh, you didn't finish?
Well, then I started my illustrious career in radio. And they were like, you don't need to do that anymore.
I was going to say, Isaiah, you don't need a college degree to do this at all.
Yes, I know.
So it just depends on, not everybody finishes now.
I went to broadcasting school, which, so I went even less than Nikki, but I did graduate. It's just so easy.
Sure.
Isaiah, as the resident college graduate,
for the longest time in college,
you're the expert on this. We have some research from the American Academy of Pediatrics, and they say that as college students are switching to remote learning, which they were doing anyways, and then with the pandemic, it was even obviously became basically the norm. They're saying that 4 in 5 college students are finding it hard to concentrate on their schoolwork while taking classes online. Mm-hmm. How do you think that number compares to just taking classes in person?
Well, I think taking classes in person is hard enough. But when I had to go, because I had to go online because I was in school like during the pandemic, was like the end of my college career.
Okay.
And it was terrible because I'm like an in-person like kind of learner.
Yeah.
And so like when I went online, like I also was going to school for broadcasting. So like there's not really a good way to teach radio online or like TV or broadcasting in general. So I felt like it was pretty silly to even try to do it. And then when I was at home like on my laptop, like if you're laying in your bed trying to do work, it just doesn't matter what you're doing, it doesn't work. Like it doesn't work at all.
That's not an environment that lends itself.
No.
Well, they're saying it's also hard to go back and forth. So like if you have to go to remote learning or you're back in person, and then they're like, just kidding, and then you go back to remote learning. So the survey, or they're finally coming out with more details, said the struggle to balance remote classes and your household responsibilities. That's funny. You mean going through all the Netflix shows?
Yeah.
That that was very stressful and very hard on people's mental health when it came to online learning.
I wonder, there has to be, right? More people that just, because of online learning, don't really live at school full time. In fact, they might still live at home and they're doing all their classes from home. So they do actually have like their mom nagging at them to get out, like
get to work, back to work.
The real college experience.
I don't know. Some colleges required you still staying.
Yeah, I'm sure.
On campus, even though you weren't allowed to go to classes.
Right. It makes not a lot of sense.
And then everybody just, were in dorms and still sick. So
yeah.
still sick there. I think it was hard for everybody.
Yeah. So what is the answer? They don't give that.
They do say that 4.6% of people doing this survey had no problems while they remote learned
Only
during
that?
COVID.
Sounds like the people that just didn't care. Like 100%, they were like, "What? I wasn't really doing well anyway."
Yeah.
It's like now I cannot do well like from my home. It sounds even better.
Not do well in my pajamas.
Exactly.
It's really a match made in heaven.
I don't know if there was even really an ending point to this study or survey. It was just saying how if you ever did have problems when you were remote learning, don't feel bad.
I guess
you weren't alone.
Yeah, you weren't alone with it.
Yeah,
Isaiah had trouble too.
I did. Yes, I did.
But I just wish there was. We get these studies and they're like, here's a problem, and there's never a study of, okay, here's what we do to fix it, because it's just, I guess everybody's just not going to get a lot out of college is the resolution.
But that's the answer, I guess.
Yeah, that's it. We're just pay thousands and thousands of dollars and have trouble concentrating.
Here, I'm going to put that in the survey right now.
Yes.
So have trouble concentrating, which we did before school and we still have after.
Yes, but also make sure that it's very expensive to have trouble
Pay
concentrating.
for that opportunity.
Yes, of course.
I got that all in there.
Yeah, all right. Well, contribute that to the data.
Mark it down as Hudson. Make sure you put it as in the other column.
That is Dr. Hudson.
Yeah, Dr. Hudson, exactly. Expert Hudson.
The Riot promise is that they'll always have an opinion on everything they talk about. But that doesn't mean any of their opinions will make sense. This is The Riot on RadioU.
I love this in Tennessee. They are taking to the skies to drop vaccines covered in food to try to make sure that they vaccinate the population.
So at first when we saw this, I said, is it COVID? Isn't that a shot?
It's not for humans,
and
it's not COVID.
It's for rabies for raccoons in Tennessee.
They do this fairly regularly. Mm-hmm. It's actually a normal thing where they really don't want the raccoons having rabies, spreading that to people's pets, livestock, and then, of course, humans. So they just try to covertly get the raccoons to just eat the vaccine by their own free will, not maybe even realizing what they're doing. And of course, you can't help but to draw conclusions or to draw parallels between what we have to do with humans with the COVID vaccine right now, because of course that's what our minds went to right away. And so, Nikki, what I'm wondering is if they were going to hide, if they were going to push aside all of the, all of the different tactics they've used to try to get people to take the COVID vaccine.
Right.
Yeah. All the free stuff. If it was just like, hey, we are going to hide the COVID vaccine in some kind of food. We're not going to tell people about it. And we just think that this is the best way.
What do you think it'd be?
What food would they choose?
Well, I don't know. Since this is like they eat it, but then the other is a shot.
Well, you just inject it into the food, though.
I feel like there'd have to be some partnership, meaning like, the government would be like, here, go and have a free nugget.
But see, I don't even think they would have to make it free, because that would.
Yes, they would.
It would raise questions.
No, they absolutely would.
Nope,
They'd be like, here's your free holiday milkshake.
Actually, no, you're right. It doesn't matter what the food is, as long as they make it free. There will be a line out the door.
That's why the raccoons are eating this.
Especially if it's something that's more than, you're right, because the free nuggets, that wouldn't be enough. It would have to be something you wouldn't expect to get for free, that you would almost be suspicious of, but not quite.
And they would trick you by making it an app exclusive. So you can only get the free nuggets that way.
And the app would track you.
It would track you.
But no, if you took advantage, and then they would know who took the vaccine and who didn't.
Because you ate the nuggets.
It's all coming together now.
Well, Jim was saying maybe Twinkies or zebra cakes. I think that'd be a good call, but I feel like it'd have to be probably more like a main food item.
Yeah, it has to be so universal.
Mm-hmm.
And
nuggets or fries would be probably it for this.
Obviously, water would be the easy one, but even then, who's drinking water?
David said it'd probably be in the free Krispy Kreme donuts because of their partnership with it. But back to the raccoons, because they have to get rid of rabies.
Yeah, that's what we're really talking about.
They're saying that they drop them from airplanes and helicopters, and that this is pretty common for them to do. So they want to do this every season, and they assume the raccoons, because raccoons don't care. They'll eat anything. It's pretty well known that they'll go ahead and eat the rabies vaccines that they airdrop.
Yeah, that's true. Raccoons are not very discerning.
They're trash pandas.
I wonder if it'll vaccine other animals too. You don't even realize.
I think so. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, like even obviously bears or other animals that might eat similar food to raccoons, but then if they don't eat it and it just wastes away there in the woods, maybe the worms are getting vaccinated because it gets into the soil.
I don't know if the worms are rabies worried, or do they come after you?
You can't be too careful though.
It's like, this worm scratched me. Nothing's worse, by the way, than if you get scratched by like an animal and they start to throwing around. It's like when they throw around the tetanus shot and then they throw around, you need to go get a shot because
nobody wants to get shot.
You touched what thought would be a nice raccoon. Because we used to get them here in the dumpster at Radio U. Man, it's tempting. Like,
diamonds might be most girls' best friend, but for Nikki, it's DoorDash. The Riot on Radio U.
It is also practically Christmas, and I thought that it'd be appropriate to talk about the new sodas that we might be coming our way, maybe just in time for Christmas, it looks like, from Mountain Dew.
Man, you spoiled it, though. Hudson Off-Air was telling me we had years ago this Kroger brand, which is also like Ralph's and a few other grocery stores, depending on which region that you're in.
Yep.
They had this store brand of the peppermint soda.
Yeah, it was store brand, and it was candy cane. And this was years ago now.
Yeah, I know. And you said they haven't had it. It was so many years ago, and they haven't had it since. They haven't even, had a doubt. They haven't even done other special flavors of soda since that experiment. And it's so sad because that stuff was great. The best. So
maybe we'll get an announcement about that one day.
If anybody ever sees that, you must let us know, because Hudson brought that in one holiday, and it was so good. But here's some other ones you can't get.
A consolation prize will be the Mountain Dew. It's bound to happen. We're talking for hours at a time. It's bound to happen.
It's okay.
What was I supposed to do?
I don't know. Okay, shake it off.
All right.
It's all right.
Hey, it's just the soda talking.
It is. It wants to be part of the story.
Mountain Dew is coming out with it. You normally around the holidays they do their merry mashup flavor.
Sure.
But instead they're eschewing that one. They're going to be doing gingerbread snapped Mountain Dew instead.
It is, yeah.
It will be gingerbread flavored, of course, which doesn't so much as appeal to me, but maybe somebody else is out there thinking, I would love to slurp up some gingerbread.
So gingerbread's supposed to, they started talking about it on Discord like last Christmas, and they said, hey, it's supposed to be coming for this year's holiday flavor. And they say that the tagline is the do with a blast of artificial ginger flavor. But at first it was do with a blast of natural and artificial gingerbread. But they changed the tagline.
Oh, come on.
Because there's no natural anymore. So it's totally gone.
Hey,
but that'll be the new Mountain Dew flavor this season.
You know what? At first, I just scoffed at this, but then I thought one of my favorite things is the bold Canada Dry.
Oh, I bet it is a bit
so
like that.
So I wonder if it's like that.
Oh, I wonder
if
too.
If it's more bold ginger and less Mountain Dew, I'm totally going to be a part of that. But if it's like citrusy and then it's got a little gingerbread, that feels weird. Also, not Christmas related. Not Christmas related, but there's also a new Mountain Dew flavor coming to Food Lion.
I guess
exclusively.
It's in the South. That's not here.
Yeah, there's none near us. Food Lion was a grocery store that I grew up around, but it wasn't the grocery store of choice. But they have Mountain Dew Uproar, because of the lion. and it's going to be a delicious, mouth-watering berry kiwi flavor with a Mountain Dew twist, which actually sounds pretty nice.
I guess it's not just the South, but it's North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, Tennessee, Kentucky, Georgia, West Virginia, Maryland, Pennsylvania, and Delaware.
Maybe we'll get somebody to send it out to us.
I know, we'll look for that, but outside of that seems to be the two new ones.
All right, well, let me go get all my burps out, and we will...
It was just, in my headphones, there's just a lot. It's a lot to really absorb in your ears.
You can only contain it so often, and with all the talking we're doing, it's bound to happen now and then.
Bet you're back.
Worst of the Riot podcast.
I continue every day when I come into work to feel a new pressure from Nikki.
Why are you blaming
That's
me?
something I need to change about myself.
Well, I just want to make sure we fix this all before we get too far into the riot.
You know, it was so nice when I came into work in the afternoons and did my show alone, because then I could just do what I want and I wouldn't have to be, nobody was there to tell me to do otherwise. And now every day there's something new Nikki has for me.
What if this voice, what if me... It's what you're supposed to be doing, and you're not listening.
I don't think that's true.
What's so wrong with me telling you to put creamer in your coffee?
This is what Nikki's doing today.
What's bad about that?
It's actually been a couple days running where she's just like, ooh, cream. But doesn't this cream sound good, Hudson? Ooh, you really should put cream in your coffee.
I think I'm about 75-80% of the cup cream to coffee ratio.
You don't even need the coffee in there.
I don't think I do.
It's just watering down the cream for you.
But I feel like, and again, we're having coffee this morning, and I know you're hearing a lot about zebra cakes, but we still get those. Like that's our free snack that we currently have in our break room. Yeah,
that's our snack of the day for the last few weeks.
So we have a lot of zebra cakes, and I know you're eating one with your coffee for your delicious breakfast this morning.
Yeah.
And I was just telling you because you said it tastes so good. Why don't you add a little cream or two? It'll be so smooth.
Listen. There's not a lot of things that are healthy about my lifestyle.
But your coffee
is? But one of the few that is years ago, I managed to cut cream out of my coffee. Cream, it was more difficult cutting sugar out of the coffee.
Yeah.
I used to be the type of person that would put, like,
you could put sugar packets in?
You could stand up a spoon in my coffee in my younger days.
I didn't know that.
And I cut it down. I cut it down. I got it down to like one spoonful. And then finally I eliminated that. And then cream was next on the chopping block. And now I've hit the point, and I've been doing this for a long time now, where I have enough appreciation for my coffee, as long as it's a good cup, that I can drink it black. And I do. I choose to do it that way. And I don't want to get back into the situation where I'm drinking creamer in my coffee, because creamer is not a healthy choice.
Sure.
It's a lot of sugar. It's a lot of fat in it, I'm sure. A lot of calories and maybe carbohydrates. I don't even know. But the thing is, like you could say, well, Hudson, you're eating your coffee. You're eating a zebra cake with your coffee.
That is basically creamer in a solid form.
But the thing is, if I started putting cream in my coffee, I'm not going to stop eating zebra cakes. So it's not like I can replace one with the other. Well, so it's just adding them together, which makes it even worse.
Now, I will step aside then, because I didn't know you had a problem with it back in the day. So I don't want to bring you back.
The sugar was ridiculous. It was because coffee at that time was something you just felt like you should drink.
Oh, sure.
And you felt like you needed it to fit in, and you needed it to live the hours that you live in my younger days. And now, but I grew out of that to where I'm a functioning adult, and you just need the coffee to kind of get you through. It's just a little pick me up, but you don't need all that sugar. In fact, that can make things worse.
I'm not there yet. I think I do need the sugar because I like just I like that flavor. I like the flavor of the creamer. I don't even care about the flavor of the coffee.
But that's the hard thing to leave behind, is not necessarily just the sweetness, but it's hard to leave behind the peppermint mocha flavors or the biscotti, just the various different, the flavored creamer can be quite good. It's hard to leave that behind. I
won't tempt you anymore.
All right.
Unless you're looking for someone to blame, and I'll be it, and you want to get back into it. I
suddenly have
it's my fault.
Sugar and cream addiction, I get back on the horse or off the horse or whatever the terminology would be. and all of a sudden I'm in cream rehab.
I like Matt's text. He says I should just be drinking flavored milk. Yeah, pretty much.
Yes, that's what you should be doing.
And that's okay.
The only problem with that is it doesn't have caffeine, but you could just add caffeine to that. And you wouldn't even have the coffee flavor.
I have no problem. Caffeine is not why I have coffee, really. I just like the warmth of it.
Okay.
It's very nice on the voice.
Okay.
And it's the creamer. It is the creamer.
So why don't you just warm up the creamer in the microwave?
And just have it?
Yeah, just have that.
Because it says I can only have like 2 tablespoons. And it's horrible for you.
That's the wake-up call right there.
I think I have maybe a cup. So I am very well, I know that I should not have as much as I'm having.
Yeah.
But it would be probably better if I just switched to something else. Just get a chocolate milk in the morning.
Yeah, get a muscle milk or something.
Something like that.
You'll get the same effects, and it wouldn't have coffee involved.
Aww.
Yeah! You were one of the lucky few who missed the riot when they were live. Yet here you are.
I also like to live dangerously.
This is the Worst of the Riot podcast.
We have here the odds of dying if you go to a national park.
Oh, I don't want to think about that.
I know.
Especially if someone has that planned.
They put these statistics out, and it really has a feel of, there's that tweet, my not involved in human trafficking shirt has people asking a lot of questions clearly answered by my shirt. It's like they're saying, are you're not likely to die at a national park statistics have people asking a lot of questions clearly answered by the statistics.
I don't know.
Why are you putting this out?
Well, maybe they have to, or it just feels like a real downer.
Yeah,
Very much so.
Because
a lot of people are going to national parks because, well, where else are we going?
Yeah, right.
It seemed like the safer bet, especially when COVID stuff was more, and then, you're still outside.
Right.
But national parks, man, they're tough to get through this summer.
Yes.
Everybody's there, but now I don't want to think about
Especially
this.
a lot of the ones in the Western U.S. are very, very crowded, or at least they have been. And now, on top of that, you add in, you have to think about, wait, I could die if I go here.
That's awful.
Even though that
technically that's everywhere you go.
Yeah,
but
you could always die, but everywhere isn't always putting out statistics about how likely you are to die.
Well, great. Let's hear the many, many ways we can be in trouble.
Of course, it's actually very safe. Like, you're very unlikely to die. They said that according to data, for 2007 to 2018, they found that there was 2,727 deaths.
Mm-hmm.
That's so over 11 years, you had almost not quite 3,000 deaths. They say that equates to about 8 deaths per 10 million visits. So you have an 8 in 10 million chance of dying, according to the data that they're putting out.
Well, thanks, guys. Thanks.
Yeah.
They say some is, really unintentional causes, drowning, car crashes within the national park area. But gee, some for like extreme heat in some areas, weather events. Everything else is so sad.
Yeah, but they put
if you're engaging like in physical activity, so maybe like say you have a heart attack or something. If you're hiking, biking, or swimming, they say that 79% of the deaths occurred among males.
So we're gonna have to not do that.
So
we're gonna have to not go hiking, biking, or swimming. We're not going to do any physical activity if we do go to a national park. And then, so they put this out too. We heard that it's 8 deaths per 10 million visits.
Yeah.
But then when you hear a statistic like this, between 2014 and 2016, there was a total of 990 deaths, which averages to 6 deaths per week. And that makes it sound like a lot more. Like almost every day, somebody is dying at a national park, and that makes it sound scary.
Wait, guys, let me work at my vacation plans.
Yeah.
While we're doing this, they say that, in Washington, the North Cascades National Park was the most dangerous.
Yep.
Lake Mead National Area, most deaths among that period when they were doing the study. Anything else? Grand Canyon as the park with the most deaths. Yosemite second. Great Smoky Mountains in third. All
right.
The most common ones were falls, medical or natural things, undetermined, unexplained, and that's awful.
So a lot of them.
I said, I'm not reading anymore.
A lot of this feels like it's just you happen to be at the park.
Oh, sure.
When you die. But either way, you don't hear stories about how often people die at Disney World. because it's so rare, hopefully.
That's because they cover that up.
Yep.
They're not telling you.
If you die at Disney World, no one will know.
Man, you don't want to know about that.
Those deaths are definitely unexplained.
I bet you, though, that Disney's numbers are just as high.
You think so?
They're just
about
not
a person
it.
per week dying at Disney World?
You have to sign something if something happens, like if you're family, and I bet you can't talk about it.
Hudson, Nikki, The Riot on Radio U.
Now, here's a study that maybe this will be encouraging for some people. It's from the University of Victoria in Canada, and they found that about 2/3 of romantic couples start out as friends. Now, let's be clear about that. That means 2/3 of people who wind up dating
were friends
first. Not 2/3 of people. I just want to be clear. It's not 2/3 of people that are friends start dating each other, because that's a lot different. If you're sitting there with unrequited love from somebody who's in the friend zone.
This says that sometimes we focus on the spark of romance between strangers.
You're right.
But that you might actually have a better chance. And instead it could be the romance that's centered among your friends.
Yeah.
So you might be able to find the forever someone
within
your friend group.
You've been looking around in all the wrong places when it turns out the love of your life was right in front of you all along.
Well, I think sometimes people are afraid you'll ruin a friendship.
Yes.
Like it's not one of the right ones.
Uh-huh.
And so instead you have to look for a stranger to be the special someone.
Yeah.
But maybe it's worth the risk, and it could be just in your friend group that you need to find that person first.
Yeah. And it's always, I find that just anecdotal evidence that so many of the people that I know that do wind up getting married and seeming to last for a really long time is they are people that knew each other before, where they didn't just meet on Tinder or, whatever the random dating app might be, or just out somewhere. They're people that were friends first. They knew each other for a long time.
Yeah.
And then they wound up dating, which when you first find out they're dating after they've known each other for so long, I always feel that that's a weird thing. It's like, wait a minute. It's just always weird. The time it's like, why now?
Well,
but
just know.
Either way, it usually winds up working out. And I think a big part of that is when you know somebody for a long time and you're friends with them, you know a lot about them and some of maybe their like quirks or maybe more negative personality traits that you can realize you can put up with and you still like them. Whereas when you just meet somebody and you just go right into dating, it's fun at first, but a lot of times then you're in the midst of dating is when you're finding out about these things, and that can really cause a lot of tumult.
It can wear off and then you break up.
Right.
So they're saying that for friends. So in case you want this information, so you know who to look for.
Yeah.
If you have so many
well,
friends.
Wait, I have a few friends. Which one should I start dating?
So they say that you should probably have known them for maybe 1 to 2 years before a romantic relationship. Mm-hmm. Most of the participants in this study said they didn't enter the friendship in the beginning with romantic intentions or even necessarily being attracted to them.
Sure.
So they say that the average length of the pre-romance friendship means it's likely that the couples were genuine at that point. Platonic friends before transitioning into more of a boyfriend-girlfriend.
Yeah, so there you go. If you're out there in the dating world, sometimes it's better to look closer than far away. Sometimes you can't see the forest from the trees, is the old saying.
Well, Hudson, though, this is an awful study when it's like, well, wait, but I don't have many friends.
Yeah, right.
You don't even have a special someone. You're like, I don't have friends first.
Why'd you have to give it such a negative turn?
Well,
Negative Nikki.
I want to be realistic for everybody in case you're like, but I don't have any friends to do this.
So here's what you do.
We need to find a study about making friends.
Go out, make some friends. And,
give it a year or two.
But they said in the study, that people didn't get into the friendships expecting a romantic relationship. So they're already, it's just it's a self-fulfilling parody or a paradox kind of thing right there.
So we can't guarantee this is going to work out for everybody, but at least if you have a couple of friends, it might.
It's not something you might be able to engineer in your life, but it's something that might just be right in front of you all along.
I know, every time I see
so many romantic movies will tell us.
I see these stories are like, they really assume we have a lot of friends, don't they? I don't know if that's everybody.
Well, fortunately for us, we're both married, so we don't even have to worry anymore. We don't need friends.
I didn't have them.
The Riot with Hudson and Nikki on Radio U.
A bear hunt is on in the state of Minnesota, Nikki. But this one is this is a special one.
It is.
And what makes it so special?
I don't think a bear hunt is special, but I'd love to hear why.
It is a unique bear hunt because this bear is a gun-toting bear.
Oh, finally he's fighting back.
He is, yep. he's had enough. He's been the hunted this whole time. And
not anymore?
It's totally a movie, isn't it?
It does feel like it.
He steals a gun. This is like he's Jack Bauer. He steals the gun, and all of a sudden the authorities are tracking him. They don't know what he's doing, but it's a bear all about the woods in Minnesota.
What's the anime, or what's the bear, the picnic basket one?
What's Yogi?
One? Yogi Bear.
Yeah.
But like Yogi's mad. It's like Yogi and John Wick put together.
Yes. They've done something to Boo Boo, and so Yogi's out for revenge.
Oh my gosh, it's so bad because it works.
Yep, it totally
works.
So he steals a picnic basket and he knows it has a gun in it.
Uh-huh.
And boom, all of a sudden he's on the loose. And those bumbling park rangers can't seem to track him down, and he's taking them out one by one.
It looks like technically like the bear has a backpack, and the backpack has the gun.
Yes.
So he took someone's backpack with a handgun and some snacks inside.
Yeah.
Dude, why's he got a handgun and snacks? And he ran off into the woods, so they're trying to find him.
Yes. I guess the good news is they say that the authorities say they found the backpack.
Oh, they
did? It was
did?
shredded up. The gun was still with it.
Oh, but the
so
snacks
the gun
are gone.
so the bear took what was really important.
That's the food.
But the bear is still on the loose though. Fortunately, he doesn't have a handgun at the moment that we know of.
Oh yeah.
But maybe this is a repeat thing for him, and maybe he's got a stash of handguns.
Man, that would have been awful if the bear shot himself accidentally.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, that's not food.
Yeah, that would. He just thinks he's going in for some Cheetos, and all of a sudden things take a turn for the worse. So fortunately, that didn't seem to happen.
They say the bear stealing the handgun in the bag was a first for the park agency and the Forest Service. They've not seen that or had that call come in before, but no one was hurt.
Yeah, but
except the snacks.
It would sure be something. Like, it's one thing if you saw a bear out in the woods. What if you saw a bear and he's carrying a gun?
He's got a gun.
What do? They don't have a handbook for that.
You don't know
play
how to
dead.
handle it. You're at this point, you're
going to be dead. Whether it's the bear or the gun, either way, you're dying.
Like they say, like, what are the odds that you run into a bear? The odds that the bear would try to attack you.
Yeah.
But then you also are like, what are the odds that you're shot at?
What are the odds that the bear either knows how to use the gun and is ready to use it on you, or doesn't know how to use the gun, but accidentally sets it off on you? It's just a whole bad situation.
Maybe if it's on the ground, like the forest floor, it'd only be your foot that got shot. So maybe that would be not as bad.
If you could pop it out of his hand. Is that the move there? If you see a bear with a gun, do you go for, I'll at least try to get the gun out?
Honestly, if I find a bear with a gun, I'm going on Facebook or Instagram Live because that's amazing.
And you're going to live stream your death.
Not that, but me getting away. But I want to show everybody that I'm not lying.
Yeah.
That the bear has a gun.
I guess you would have to take a picture before you do anything. It's a total different, because if you see somebody with a gun in real life, you're just you're going to be calm and you're going to put your hands up and whatever. But if it's a bear, I don't know if you do the same thing, because you just don't know what the bear is capable of with that gun.
That's next
so running
level.
away might be the best option. But then again, bears are so fast. It might chase you down.
Yeah, but he just ate. So maybe he is slow. He won't want to kill you.
Yeah, I guess so.
But
You just heard the worst of the worst. We'd give you the best of the best, but we'd have to find that. As soon as we do, you'll be the first to know.